Welcome to our website. I want to thank you for stopping by and spending some time with us. I also wanted to take just a second to thank those who have made our video production possible. Zach McCurdy and Adam Reese have worked tirelessly to make sure that we have an opportunity to do something that for me and my ministry is relatively new. I hate to say that. I've been in ministry for a few decades. I've never really engaged in the social media applications in regard to that other than posting articles or things of that nature, but I am glad we're learning at this point how to include things like video presentations and other such materials so that we can add classes and sermons for the world to see, because we're always anxious and encouraged to share those godly ideas that we have with the world. I want to share with you a letter that I wrote a few weeks ago, and in the process of reading this letter, I'm going to amend a few of the things that I've written simply because the information has changed since I initially wrote this. And it was just a note to my congregation of encouragement, and I hope that you'll find it to be encouraging to you. But I want to share this with you, and this will be linked so that you can, you're already here if you're watching this, but it's going to be linked from our website to its current place on the internet. I have to our beloved members of the East Allen County Church of Christ. We're experiencing a situation that is new territory for our communities, our church, our nation, and its leadership. Many are afraid of contracting novel coronavirus, and as a result, we've been given much information. Some people are hoarding resources that are entirely unnecessary and even sometimes uncaring of our neighbors. This is a medical crisis. It is not a supply chain issue. Buying up all the bread, milk, toilet paper, and hand sanitizer is not going to help oneself or your neighbors. In fact, in some cases, by hoarding these items, you're actually making yourself, putting yourself in a more dangerous position. Buy what you need and allow your neighbor to have access to their needed amounts of the same products. Some have elected to stay away from gatherings, as we are instructed by the state officials and the National Center for Disease Control. Presently, we have received information that has reduced recommended mass gatherings from the previous number of 250 down to 50, and then it was down to 10. I will also say at this time, our current congregation does not meet, and we will not meet until the all clear is given both by our local governmental officials as well as the national CDC. Indiana, and I have this statement that was written actually for publication from the state of Indiana, and this is what was initially written, and it has also been amended. Indiana will adhere to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommendation to limit large events and mass gatherings to 50 people. And again, that has been amended down to 10 according to the governor's office. In fact, now it is relinquished to essential entities that should be meeting. Holcomb last week discouraged non-essential gatherings of more than 250 people in sites such as churches, stadiums, conference rooms, and auditoriums. An employee at the State Police Laboratory Division in Indianapolis has been diagnosed with the virus and remains hospitalized, according to state police. One co-worker is self-quarantined at home, and others have been notified. Colleges across the state, including Indiana, Purdue, and Ivy Tech, are taking steps such as extending spring breaks and temporarily canceling classroom instruction. I will also add to that some institutions have officially canceled their academic years. Indiana University has closed all residence halls, and coursework will be submitted online for the rest of the semester. IU officials had planned to resume classes after April 6th. At this point, and this is parenthetical to the article, at this point it is unlikely that they will resume on April 6th. All of us regret deeply that we have to take these actions. IU President Michael McRobbie said in a message on the university website, yet they are absolutely necessary, and we are asking all individuals to make deep sacrifices for the good of those in our community who are most vulnerable to the threat of infection. In fact, in the letter which I'm reading from to the congregation, there is a published web link to the article just so that you can look at it and at least see the article in its original context. This is a fluid situation, and more information will be forthcoming about our worship services and the times they will be available. And again, for the time being, immediately they are canceled. As of now, which was March 16th, There are no present changes. Of course, there obviously have been changes. Please remain attentive. At this time, we're encouraging people to remain calm and remember that using standard hygiene practices, such as the regular use of hand washing as well as hand sanitizer, is necessary to maintain a hold on the spread of this virus and prevent any contraction on our own part. Some guidelines that have been given to us are, first of all, of course, hand washing and using hand sanitizer as appropriate, maintaining social distancing at least 3 to 6 feet between yourself and others when you're in public. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with your hands. If you have fever, cough, or trouble breathing, seek help early. That may require you, if you're in great distress, obviously to go to the emergency room, but you might be able to call your doctor or to call your local hospital if you're symptomatic and explain to them how you're feeling, and please use a thermometer to gauge your temperature. They can help you a great deal over the phone, and that's using terminology known as telemedicine. But all that being said, please take care of yourself. And if you are concerned about your health and you find you're in an abnormal position to this time of year, again, remember, things are about to start pollinating. We're going to have runny noses. We're going to have stuffed nasal passages if you're allergic to any of those things. And so please be aware that the symptoms that the medical world is looking for are symptoms that are a little different than what you're used to. Stay informed and follow your healthcare provider's advice, and that's always the number one thing we need to do. Some feel any precautions are overblown. Personally, I don't feel that they're necessarily overblown. Others see doom and gloom and catastrophe at every step. I don't see that either. Most simply practice what has been advised and are as a result very safe. If you feel the need to stay home, and that is away from services at this time, of course, once again, we don't have any at the East Allen County Church at the moment, then know this, that there is absolutely no judgment from myself or the elders here at our congregation. Do what you feel is necessary to keep yourself healthy. We would say that no matter what the circumstance. Know that you are loved and prayed for daily. Being loved and prayed for happens anyway, every day, for our members here in our community. Christians don't need a medical crisis to know the value of prayer in our lives or in this world. In the event you have a special need, shopping trip, a shopping or trip to the doctor, food, someone to talk to, someone to pray with, then please call on the leadership and membership here. We stand ready to serve our congregation and our neighbors as they have need. Again, that is nothing new to this circumstance. If you elect to stay home, there are some online resources you might be interested in for the purposes of biblical study or other spiritual encouragement. We are presently looking at, and as I told you, we're growing into the process of using media, video, in projecting ourselves onto the internet. We have many online audio sermons available, and now we're going to hopefully keep the video process going when we resume meeting on a regular basis and under our normal circumstances when all of this is over. Please know that any recommendations of a site that I'm about to make are not a wholesale advocacy of the views of any particular person. Other than God, we're all human and can all be inclined, if we're not careful, to be incorrect or maybe to be misunderstood. So know that I am giving you general information that I think would be helpful to you if you're looking for opportunities to study online or to look online so that you can study without necessarily leaving your home. The first one is the Gospel Broadcasting Network. It has both archive videos and live stream programming available. Its database is searchable and it's vast. I highly recommend the Gospel Broadcasting Network. Another website, and there are several that are like it, would be the G.E. Watkins site. It maintains a website with an abundance of material as well. Another website that is be a great resource for articles of encouragement is the House to House, Heart to Heart website, and I would recommend that wholeheartedly. The articles I have found to be uplifting and encouraging, and boy, do we ever need that at a time like this. There are a lot of others I could refer you to, and you might know of some yourself. And I encourage you to stay actively engaged in biblical study. If you find yourself, and it is possible, if you find yourself under stress, maybe staying up late, not able to sleep, go to your computer or your smartphone, and do some web searches and do some devotionals and spend some time with God's Word. Because I assure you, folks, this is not the first pandemic humanity has ever faced. It's doubtful, unless the Lord comes very soon, it will be the last. But all of that being said, the most important thing for all of us is to use this time wisely, and that is to become closer to God. Don't feed our fears. Life is what it's going to be, and there's nothing we can do to change that except to say that we can practice things with logic and remain sane at a time when, unfortunately, many people are going to operate out of fear. And that's not what we want to do. That's not helpful in any circumstance or any situation. So to continue on and finish this, I have a few recommendations for all of us. First, let's all remember that no matter what the circumstance, we are God's people. He is in control and is the author of the promises of life, both here on earth and in our future in heaven. Presently, we live in His kingdom, and He reigns supreme no matter what the circumstance. Next, our faith is always going to be tested in a variety of ways. Please remember that the greatest enemy of man is not a virus, but it's sin. As we struggle to adjust our emotions and our focus at this time, always remember that problems can pose a fork in our respective roads. We can become fearful and retract from our faith, or we can learn to lean on God even more. I can assure you of one thing: this situation will pass. When we're on the other side of this moment in time, what will we look back and see? What will be the judgment of history on our present faith? What does the world see about our faith when they look at us? What does my faith say about my trust in God? The world is watching. And finally, these times remind us of what is truly important. Sometimes we need life to slow down so we can reflect on what real priorities should be. The regular hustle and bustle of life can be misleading to our sense of time and to what's important. Have you ever woken from sleep one morning to wonder where all of our time has gone? Your kids are grown up. If you have kids, life has changed for better or worse. And I can promise you one thing about life: change will come, of all kinds. Regardless of anything else, time goes on. Have we been focusing on what is truly important? Or have we been, like so many, chasing the wrong issues and neglecting what is truly important? In the broader sense, we've weathered storms in the past, and there will surely be storms in our future. I pray the great lesson we find in our victory is that God is still God, and His promises have never changed for His people. Take the commonsensical approach of personal hygiene. Check on coworkers, neighbors, friends, and family. Help where you can. Always point man to the Savior, and let us always be found living at the foot of the cross. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this rather long message. Know that we love you and that we're praying for you, and we look forward to seeing you when all of this is behind us. God bless you.